Hi, welcome to another episode of Whap Spice, where you know the world like the palm of your hand. Literally.
Yo, I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. So tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want.
It all began with the birth of a future great president, George Washington. Wait, what? I think I have the wrong story. The Mongols were a pastoral nomadic group. They began their conquests during the 13th century and enjoyed much political dominance over Central Asia and Eurasia. Their great empire expanded from China all the way to Eastern Europe.
Although the Mongols have been depicted as savage barbarians, they were quite organized. They were divided into tribes and they greatly depended on herds of goats or sheep and engaged a lot in trading. One of their biggest social characteristics was that their social units were quite fragile. This was because they depended greatly on trust. Trust was such a valued characteristic which helped make Mongol leadership so successful. These are some of the political events that occurred from Genghis Khan to Timur. Victory over the kingdom of Shishya in 1207 and the expansion of the Mongol Imperium all the way to the Persian Gulf by 1227. The death of Genghis Khan in 1226 after the victory once again over the rebellious kingdom of Shishya, and also the division of the Mongol Empire in 4 parts after Genghis Khan's death. The first Mongol invasion in Russia in 1236 and their withdrawal after conquesting almost all of Russia in 1238. And the alliance of Russians rebelling against the Mongols and driving them out of their lands during the Battle of Kulikova in 1380. The Mongol invasion in Baghdad in 1258 in which the last Abbasid Caliph was killed. The birth of a Mongol empire under Timur in 1360 which expanded to the Middle East, India, and southern Russia. Later on, its disintegration in 1405. The Mongols interacted a lot with the environment. They were nomads.
Map of the Mongol Empire and its expansion.
That means they moved around a lot.
Map of the 4 divisions of the Mongol Empire after Genghis Khan's death.
From the Middle East to India to Russia and even to Eastern Europe.
Map of the Mongol Empire and its connection with the global trade network.
Through their various invasions, they pushed their borders and they created a great land for a great empire. After the Mongol Empire disintegrated, it still left a lot of influence within China. For example, women's role changed. Women from Mongolian tribes did not accept their place in the hierarchy system according to Confucianism. One of the greatest Mongolian women influence was Chabi, who was a concubine of one of the Chinese emperors, and she advised him in political matters. A lot of women during the time were still practicing foot binding and their rights were taken away from them, such as being able to give their political opinion. However, Mongolian women stood firm in their position and even kept their control over their households. During the Yuan dynasty, there was a very large religious tolerance. Nestorians, Western Christians, Buddhists, and even Taoists were allowed to practice their religions with no limitation or whatsoever. A very important point about the Mongols within the Yuan dynasty is that they helped urbanize. A lot of cities started to flourish thanks to the various traditions that the Mongols brought into China. Also, it is important to take note that the Confucian social hierarchy, once established by the scholar gentry, started to change once the Mongols, who stood below the peasants, slowly started to rise above the merchants. The economy of the Mongols was purely based on trade. Their empire was so big that it went over Eurasia and Central Asia, that they had great influence over the global trade network. And as nomadics, they were one of the most important pieces of the trading network. Hey, can I exchange this for your earphones?
Sure.
Thank you. And that was it for this spicy episode of history. And remember, the world is at your hands.
Mongols!